This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, Rabbi. Welcome, everyone. This week's Parshas Chukas, and the Haftorah that we read is from the Sefer Shoftim. It speaks about Yiftach Hagiladi, and it speaks about his relation with Eretz Moav and Eretz Bnei Ammon. In fact, in the Haftorah, it says Yiftach Hagiladi says to the king of Ammon that Klal Yisrael did not take the land of Moav and the land of Ammon, and they only wanted to pass through. But basically, Sichain and Moav went out to war against Klal Yisrael, and we had no choice. So this is the subject of this week's Parsha, the war against Sichain and Moav. But the Haftarah begins with an individual by the name of Yiftach Hagiladi. It says, Yiftach Hagiladi Aya Gibar Chayav Ben Isha Zoina Vayoled Gilad. That's Yiftach. Okay, so what does it mean that Yiftach Hagiladi, he was a mighty warrior, and he was the son of an Isha Zoina? I mean, for real, Yiftach's a chashuv guy. His mother was a Zoina. Why are we calling her a Zoina? What does Zoina even mean? So the Targum says she was a Pandakus. Pandakus means she was an innkeeper. Okay, so why do I need to know her profession? And let's say she sold life insurance. It would have said, V'yiftach ha'galadi, ha'yagibar chayav, hu ben isha, shamachar, shmiras ha'chayav. You know, why do I need to know her mother's profession? If Zoina means she was a Pandakus, who could care less what her mother did? So there's a very interesting Rabbeinu Bechayei in Parshas Maseh. We very rarely get an opportunity to learn Parshas Maseh. Maybe Matos, but Maseh, you forget it. And Rabbeinu Bechayei, and to know this pasuk in Shoftim, the opening pasuk of Haftarah, you need to know Rabbeinu Bechayei in the beginning of Parsha, at the end of Parshas Maseh. It talks about a bas yoreshes nachala. Now, how could a bas be yoresh nachala? A girl does not inherit her father. A girl does not get an inheritance. But what if there are no boys? There are no boys. So you'll ask, but that's not fair. It's not fair that the Torah gives nachla to a ben and not to a bas. Nobody said that. This is what Hashem writes, that a ben gets Yerusha and a bas does not. But if there are no banim, then the bas gets. Shelo haya ben la'aviyah achar she'yinchalou ha'aretz. There is no son. And that's what it means, bas yoreshes nachala, because there are no banim. Al kein amar hakosav pam shenis. Therefore, the pasuk says another time, v'lo sisav nachala. Now, originally, the Shvatim did not marry one into the other. This way, because of the danger of marrying one into another, is if a woman marries into another shevet, it's not an issue. She's not going to inherit her father anyway. But if she's an only daughter, she'll inherit her father. Then when she dies, her banim, let's say her husband's from Asher and she's from Zevulun, then the land of Zevulun will go to Asher. And the Torah says, V'lo sisav nachala. Umitam zeh haya haminag b'Yisrael. That's what the custom in the Jewish people was. Bebas yoreshes, when a girl inherited, kishetavar al zeh. When she violates this, v'tirtzu yinazu shevet acher, shahayu koirin oisa Zoina. What's a Zoina? A woman who marries out of the shevet. V'hoisa mafsedes nachlas beisavia. Now the truth is, not every time is she a Zoina. There if what? She's only a child, only daughter, or she's only of, I don't know. Let's say there are 5 daughters, like the Slavchad, they all inherit. So when there are no boys, she can't marry out. But if there are boys, she wouldn't be a Zoina. Listen to this. V'zehu she'kasuf v'yiftach hagiladi hayagibra chayav hu ben isha Zoina. Her mother wasn't a Zoina. She wasn't. She was a woman who was a daughter without and there were no brother siblings. V'naslo shevet acher. Ki ein hakavana Zoina mamish chas v'shalom v'chein tergem yonasan. So that's a very interesting interpretation. She's a stranger. She became estranged from her shevet. She became estranged from her shevet.
When did they change the minhag in Tu B'Av? When did that take place? That the Shvatim were able to marry to each other. Historically, was that before Yiftach? When was it?
When did they? After, it must have been after. I mean, if we're calling her a Zoina, right?
No, I understand.
Oh, you mean the minhag?
When said that was one of the things in Tu B'Av, that the Shvatim were...
They began marrying each other, right?
So when was that?
Not sure. But
obviously, according to this, it has to be afterwards, but you don't know the start.
I don't know. But it says that's the meaning that she was a Zoina. It doesn't mean she was promiscuous. It means she married out of the tribe. Now, what does Rabbeinu Bechayei mean? V'chein Tirgem Yonasan. Because we know that the Targum on Navi is Targum Yonasan ben Uziel. The Targum on Chumash is not Targum Yonasan ben Uziel. It's Unclus. And Targum Yonasan ben Uziel is not Yonasan ben Uziel. It's Targum Yushalmi. And what's Targum Yushalmi? A different version of Targum Yushalmi. But regular Targum on Navi is Targum Yonasan. So now the question is that what does Rabbeinu Bechayei mean? B'chein Tirgem Yonasan. We just spoke out that the Targum on Navi calls her a pundakis, an innkeeper, not a bas yereshes nachala. So in the Hagois and Rabbeinu Bechayei from Rav Chaim Dov Shavel, he brings that in our Targum Yonasan this is not extant. This is not the case. Ella, but rather when the Rabbeinu Bechayei says that the Targum Yonasan translates Zoina as bas yereshes nachala, he means the Targum of the Tosefta. Because if you look in the Targum of the Tosefta, that's quoted by the Radak. He says, Hi nimusahu b'Yisrael milakadmin. There was an ancient custom. Not to transfer inheritance from one shevet to the next. And a man was not able to marry a woman not from a shevet. If a woman loved a man, not from her shevet, have a nafka mi beinasha b'lo yachasanta. Basically, they would send her out of her father's house without any inheritance. We would call her a Zoina. Why was she a Zoina? She's a Zoina. She loves a man not from her shevet. The same way, what would you call a Jewish person who loved a Gentile? A Zoina. So if you love someone from Zavulun, you're a Zoina. Stick to your tribe.
Rabbi,
we believe in...
talks about a Zona, somebody who commits an Avera.
No, the Torah doesn't. The Torah, now, this is the Torah, and the Torah is saying...
But in the Chumash, Torah,
yeah,
they talk about a Zona.
That's one time. Zoina just means that... it means to go out. It means to go out. It means to go out. So, let's see the Radak. The Radak says, Ben Isha Zoina, Ben Pilegesh Gilad Haya. She was the son of, what it means that she was an Isha Zoina, it means she was the son of the Pilegesh of Gilad. Meaning, Yiftach HaGiladi. What does it mean, Yiftach HaGilad? His father was Gilad. And he was the son of a Zoina. That means it wasn't really his mother. It was his mother, but she wasn't really married to Gilad. She was his concubine. That's the first pshat in the Radak. A concubine is a woman who you're allowed to have relations with, but it's not a formal union with kedushin and ksuba.
Why they call it Pelegish and not a Zona?
Because it's the same thing, basically, right? In other words, a Zoina is basically a formal. Pelegish is a formal Zoina, right? It's like a legalized Zoina. That's what a Pelegish is. There's no kedushin. There's no ksuba. It's just a legislated Zoina. That's basically what it is. She's designated. She's my Zoina. That's what the Radak is saying. Not mine personally. What?
It's only in the American way you have it designated.
I know that's cool.
Okay. Weiter. The Yonasan Tirgam Pundakisa. Yonasan translates it as an innkeeper. Kamasha Tirgam Gamkein Rachav Hazaina Pundakisa. Ayhuha Inyan Ba'atzmai. Or an innkeeper is a Zoina. I mean, why would a woman be an innkeeper? Well, what's she doing that for? She could get a normal job. She could be a seamstress. Why is she an innkeeper? Because she's a Zoina. Ki a Zoina Kamaya Pundagagas. She's a Shemafkeres Atzma. But then he quotes the Tosefta. With a Targum Shal Tosefta da Hini Musa Havas B'Yisrael. There was a rule in Klal Yisrael Milakadmin of old, that the inheritance should not go from tribe to tribe. And a man was therefore not able to marry a woman not from her shevet. If a woman loved a man outside of her shevet, have enough they would send her out. That's what happened to Yiftach's mother. She loved a man outside of her shevet. It would seem that the Matargim needs all of this. Because he said, do not inherit to the house of my father. Ki ben isha acherasata. Okay, this is the pshat that we're going to focus on. The pshat of the Targum of Tosefta, that the reason why Yiftach's mother is called a Zoina is because she married a man outside of her shevet. So comes the Kli Yakar, not to be confused with the Ephraim of Linshitz, the Kli Yakar on Chumash. There's a different parish on Navi called the Kli Yakar, and he's going to have the following question. And that is, there are many women in Tanakh that married men outside of their shevet. The mother of Shimshon, his father was from Dan, his mother was from a different shevet. She's not called a Zoina. If you're going to say that every time a woman marries a man from outside the shevet, she's a Zoina, so why do we dafka hurl this title on the mother of Yiftach? She's not the only woman who ever married outside her shevet. There are many instances in Tanakh where it says the father's from one shevet, the mother's from another shevet. So the Kli Yakar quotes Radak that the Radak brings up pshat that the mother was a Pilegesh, so why is she called a Zoina? Because at the end of the day, that's what a Pilegesh is. And then he quotes the translation of the Tosefta. And then the Kli Yakar asks the following question. Look in the second paragraph. Uladivrei ha-Tosefta hazu kashetuva. According to this Tosefta, it's very difficult. Masha amru Chazal berabba Parshas Nasai Perush gabe Shimshon. There's a Medrash Rabbah in Parshas Nasai by Shimshon. It says Einoi oimer mishevet. It doesn't say what shevet. Ela mi mishpachas hadani. Melamed shahaya aviv midan ve'imay shel manoach miYehuda. From here we see that his father was from Dan, and his mother was from Yehuda. No. So it's interesting. We have a tradition that Mashiach, the father will be from Yehuda and the mother will be from Dan. And Shimshon also had the power of Mashiach, because it says Dan Yadin Amoy Ka'achad Shivtei Yisrael. Dan, someone who comes from Dan, namely Shimshon, will judge his people like one of the Shivtei Yisrael. I had the privilege in January to be in Eretz Yisrael, and I went to the kever of Shimshon Hagibar. It's an unbelievable, a rugged terrain. It was up a mountain. It was a quarry.
Where?
It was near Beit Shemesh. Once you drive near Ramat Beit Shemesh, there's signs for the kever of Dan. I went to Dan's kever and to Shimshon's kever. Shimshon's kever is on the top of a mountain. Unbelievable view. And I saw Eliyahu Navi was there. He was blowing a shofar, a very, very long shofar. And there were other mysterious figures there as well at the time that I'll tell you off the camera. So we took a car, but we took the wrong road. So it was like a road that was meant for trucks for the quarry, and it was unbelievable. I went with my friend and cousin, and it was quite amazing. So Reb Zev Tiberg. So here we have that Shimshon was from his father from Dan and his mother from Yehuda. That's why he's compared to Yehuda. And his mother was from Yehuda. And Manoach was Dan and his wife from Yehuda. So Shimshon came from Shevet Dan and from Shevet Yehuda. Shekach amar imei de Shimshon hatzilafuni. Basically, the Medrash says that his mother was from Yehuda. And according to this, Slafafunis. Yeah. Uladivrei ha-Tosefta And according to this, Haftorah, ben Zoina. We should call Manoach a ben Zoina. Meaning, Manoach also came from someone whose father was Dan and his mother was Yehuda. So we should say, Manoach was a ben Zoina. The Chen Shimshon, we should call him a ben Zoina. Why? The Imam Yehuda Hatzlaf Lafuni. So it's a big kasha. If, according to Rabbeinu Bechayei, you know what a Zoina is? A Zoina is someone who marries someone out of their shevet. So why are we giving Yiftach this great yichus? What about Manoach? What about Shimshon? You could say Einachanami. Manoach was a ben Zoina, and Shimshon was a ben Zoina. Well, it's a tayelas to say that Shimshon was a ben Zoina and Manoach is a ben Zoina. So you say, what's the tayelas to call Yiftach a ben Zoina? But l'kach lo hiskar ben avi Manoach. Therefore, it doesn't even say who Manoach's father was. V'Shimshon ki kan hiskiru l'asei siba l'mash shegarshu acher. So the answer is Einachanami. Manoach is a ben Zoina, and Shimshon is a ben Zoina. But who cares? Well, of what relevance is that? So why does it say by Yiftach, the Yiftach HaGalad was a ben Zoina? So the Kli Yakar says, Ki kan hizkira lasei siba l'mash shegarshu achiv anshe Gilad. We're trying to explain why did the people of Gilad chase Yiftach away? And you know what the answer is? Part of the reason is that they didn't like his ichus. He wasn't one of them. His father was from Gilad, but his mother was from a different tribe. Va'anshe Gilad ubarach Yiftach l'fi shasei imay kriya Zoina. They harassed him. Ki ben isha acheres ata. When they said ki ben isha acheres ata, they were saying you come from a woman from a different tribe. But I don't like that reason, so the Kli Yakar. I'm going to tell you my reason. V'hanochain loymar.
Where are you now? Which one?
I'm in the Kli Yakar.
No, which one? How many from the bottom?
In about 6 lines from the bottom. V'hanochain. V'hanochain loymar. What seems correct is to say, Tichshe ha'ish toiveya oisa. When a man wants her, claims her, va'afilu shatia mishevet acher, even if she's from a different shevet, derech ish l'chazar al veidasai. It's the manner of a man to go after the woman. Ve'in bekach klum. There's nothing wrong with that. V'leikru Zoina. If the man is interested in her, and she's from a different tribe, she's not a Zoina. Why is she a Zoina? We know the rule. The Gemara says in Kedushin. Why does it say ha'isha niknes? It says the man follows the woman. The man marries the woman. The wife doesn't look for the man looks for the wife. The philosophical concept is when God created man, He took out the rib, took out his side, and He made the woman. So the woman is considered lost. Okay? And the man is supposed to find her. Later in life, the man's the one who sometimes gets lost, but that's a different story. But the man is considered found, and the woman is considered lost, and the man has to find her. Now, when you lose something, do your car keys come to you, or you go to your car keys? The answer is, what? You go. You have to search for your. Speaking of the car keys, I hope I took the right one. You have to look for your car keys, and your car keys will not look for you. Likewise, a man is supposed to look for his wife. The wife doesn't look for him. So if the man is from Zavulun and he chooses a woman from Asher, she's not a Zoina. The man found him. But if the woman is from Zavulun and he's from Asher and she wants him, that's crossing the party lines. That's not proper. That's a Zoina. So that's the difference. The difference is by Yiftach HaGiladi, Yiftach's mother wanted his father, so she's a Zoina. Shimshon's mother didn't want the father. Manoach's mother didn't want the father. So he says, "Ve'im b'kach klam achein kishaisha shemishevet acher hi hatoivas." When she's the one claiming him, az ganai hula v'yikrena Zoina. V'achi dayik lashana. It's meduyik in the Tosefta. Remember the Tosefta we read says that when a woman from a shevet loves a man from a different shevet, why does it use that expression? Say if a man from shevet A, he is interested in her. The kamar b'charhavas itza derachama gavra delem b'shivta v'hava inshi karele pundakisa. We call her an innkeeper. Derachima gavra delem b'shivta tala inyan b'isha. It hinges it on the woman. Kshia yeheves baal delem b'shivta when she loves the guy from a different shevet. Al ksheish oyev v'leikach isha mishevet acher eno ganai. Manoach and his father, they loved Nashim from Shevet Yehuda. Good choice, you know. If you can't be from Yehuda, at least marry someone from Yehuda. So it was a good choice that he made. But if she's the one who wanted Gilad, so she is called a Zoina, says the Kli Yakar. I don't remember learning inside a piece from the Kli Yakar on Navi before. This is a pretty lamdasha piece. Now they're based on the Tosefta that quoted by Rabbeinu Bechayei, that Yiftach's mother was a Zoina because she married out of the tribe, but not so fast. It's only when she marries him, not when he marries her.
And that would apply to even a woman inside the tribe that marries a man from inside the tribe?
No.
Why?
No.
She's going after the man.
I think you need both.
If that's the,
It happens.
If the principle is
It happens.
that when a woman goes after
No.
a man, she's a Zona.
Look,
it should apply
usually the man is the more assertive party in the family, as Rav Miller used to say, and people have to realize that marriage is not an equal partnership. The man is the captain and the woman is the first mate. If they're two equal partners, it goes haywire. People don't want to hear that. People don't accept that. That's the source of issues. But sometimes you have the opposite. In some households, the woman's in charge, and he's the first mate. And if it works for him,
sometimes the second.
if he's good with it, we're not saying anything. That's the way people are. Whatever works. You got to live life with what works. But so she sought him out. Okay, gesundheit kol hakavod. But if she seeks out a guy from out a different shiva, that's already crossing the party line.
No, but I think you need both.
Yeah, I agree.
You need both points.
Yeah,
Not another Ben Shevet, because the Nakla moves over. So his question is irrelevant. In the same shape.
No, but what's the point? No, his question is what's the philosophy behind it?
The woman shouldn't go after the man. It should apply anywhere.
No, yes, you're right, but the whole period here and the
The answer is it's more blatant when she ventures very far out.
Yeah, both have to be there.
Yeah.
Well, how does
That's
we
why he
know
calls
that? How does we ever know that Mara Shimshon went after the man? That's a detail no one knows.
You have to say that. I mean, he has a kasha. Why does it call Gilad a Zoina and they're not called a Zoina?
Was Rus a Zona because she went after Boaz?
She didn't go after. He told her to go.
She was a Moabite, so forget about it. You're completely out of it.
She didn't go. She was
She was Zona? She went after Boaz.
Naomi told her to go.
Naomi told her what
But
to
she
do.
went after him.
No, she was
Boaz
told
didn't go seek her out. She went after
She was
Boaz.
told what to
Did
do.
what Naomi told her to do?
And she went after
She
Boaz.
didn't go. She was told what to do.
Yeah, but
Well, she didn't have to listen.
Our answer is, I would say, based on what we just said, that even though the philosophy is when she goes after him, but we need another factor. It has to be outside of the tribe. Why outside of the tribe? Because realize you're really venturing far. Because you're going to be taking your father's, your heritage, the heritage of your family, and you're moving it outside of the family. That's a very far venture. But she's a Giyar, she has nothing anyway. So she's not taking any, right? So maybe that would be a good answer. Look at number 7. So now the Chida, in his commentary to the Haftorah, quotes the Kli Yakar. I don't know, this came out of nowhere this year. I just found it interesting. No, it was interesting to me that to understand the pasuk in the Navi, there's like a random line in Rabbeinu Bechayei at the end of Parshas Maseh. Okay,
Rabbi, we needed this share after the philosophical share we had.
I know, right?
That was very deep. We need something a lot lighter.
Yeah. So the Chida in the Tzavrei Shalal, he quotes Rabbeinu Bechayei in Parshas Maseh that it used to be in Klal Yisrael, the minhag was that a daughter that inherits, when she wants to marry a man that's out of the tribe, we call her a Zoina, and she's mafsed the Nachla Beisaviyah, and this is what it means, Yiftach HaGiladi, that she's a Ben Isha Zoina. Doesn't mean a Zoina Mamish, it means she went out of the tribe. By the way, he quotes that the Maharshach showed me that the Rajba and the Tshuva in Chelek Beis, called Taldos Adam, he brings this in the name of the Targum. Fine. And the truth is, Zoina then means the simple interpretation. It's not an innkeeper. It means to veer off, it's just a borrowed turn. Now, he says, I saw the Kli Yakar, who asks, on the Tosefta, the Matzinu Manoyach v'Shimshon, the Haisa Imam Yishevet Achavim, Kain Yunikuram ben Isha Zoina, v'Nidchak, v'Chilek, Ayin Sham. So the Chida gives a different answer. The Chida says very pashat. You don't have to say only when the woman goes after the man. Remember, he gave two answers. One answer is that the truth is they were all Zoinas, but it wasn't irrelevant to other people. It was only relevant here. Or only Yiftach's mother was a Zoina because she went after him. It has nothing to do with her or who goes after who. Yiftach's mother, she married out of the tribe, but she was an only daughter, so it was a problem for her to marry out of the tribe.
Because the whole
But
Yerusha would go out of the tribe.
Right, because Yerusha would be left. But Shimshon's mother, Menach's mother, they married out of the tribe, but they had brothers. So again, you need both factors. You don't have to say, you see, in the Kliyakar, you're saying we need a few factors. We need her to go after him, and we need it to be Shevet to Shevet. The Chida said you forgot about the most important factor. The most important factor is she has to be the only daughter. If she's not the only daughter, then the mother's not a Zoina. Right? That's the simple.
It's based on economics.
Yeah, the job.
Right, but there's a certain loyalty to it. There's a certain svara to it, right? We want to keep Nachla Zavula and where it is. Okay.
If she's the only daughter, right? And if they have,
Or other daughters
have
as
a
well.
son,
Right?
then the Nachla still stays inside the Shevet.
Right. So she could marry
No
off.
problem.
Right.
But if she has and if there are no other children, doesn't the Yerusha then go to the brothers and the sisters?
Yeah. No, it goes to the closest male relative. It's only when there are no male relatives that it goes to the girls, like by the
So she has to
Mneslavchai.
be the only daughter and no other male relative?
It doesn't have to be the only daughter, but let's say there are 2 daughters, or 3 daughters, or 4 daughters, then the Nachla will go to their husband. And if he's from a different Shevet, it will be transferred to a different Shevet, yeah.
What's the Indian of this? Since it only lasted a few hundred years, what was the Indian of the Torah to separate the Shvatim? It didn't last anywhere.
Why are there Shvatim?
Yeah, what was the difference between that and their marriage? Since it didn't last.
There's a concept. Every Shevet has different personality.
What did they accomplish over the 200 years? What did it accomplish?
What was the purpose?
Eventually we got
It's a
united,
subject in and of itself. Every Shevet had a degel. They were on different teams. They were fundamentally different.
The American League, the
But in the
National
end,
League,
it doesn't bring that.
I would say it's not good that we're all together.
I think the opposite is a period.
No, Achdus. What's Achdus? I don't believe. No, they're different.
He likes, I my share, I love my share.
I have a question. If you're a father, you want all your kids to be exactly the same? You want them, even though different personalities and different talents, they're all united in a common cause. But it's a bigger Kiddush Hashem when there's...
its own function.
The main that needs to be Achdus.
No, Achdus... No.
Each one has his own idea. In the beginning,
I don't... No, Achdus is the most abused concept in Judaism. Achdus. What do you mean Achdus? Sfardim and Ashkenazim are different. You know.
How can you if you're Yehudi and Shimon, they're not the same.
Different is
My
good.
father ever jumped in the sea first.
No, I have a question.
Shimon, you got killed, you did this and this. It brings confusion.
No, just the opposite. In marriage, Achdus, where we both cook, we both clean, we both go to shul, we both sit together, we both daven. No, we have different jobs. We have. No. Okay, it's a different subject. Hatoisefta the matzinu monach for Shimshon the hoisa ima mishevet acher v'imkein yiu nekram ben isha Zoina v'nidchak v'chilak ayin sham loy kosher midi. The Hatoisefta ma'iri bebas yereshes. The Toisefta is talking about a daughter who inherits. Kamavor bereisha v'gam b'seva d'ktani v'ben lo yachal gabra v'charhavas itza drachmana hakol. Bebas achas yeresh. My dima sam der zada. But nafikus b'loy chasant. But I knew bebas yeresh. Like Rabbeinu Chemef says, "Nachal d'savia." Aval bas sheino yeresh. Lo yisuk peida. Vayamin glikach bas sheino yeresh shevet acher. It was widespread in Klal Yisrael. If the girl was from a different shevet, you would still marry her as long as she had brothers. The minhag was only if she's bas yereshes, you wouldn't marry her. We weren't that separate. I couldn't marry a girl from a different shevet if she was an only daughter. But if she had brothers, of course they would always marry, because she's not a bas yereshes nachala. Advar pshutim. You don't have to say he goes after her, she goes after him. There's no chiluk. It's all about bas yereshes. Emor Mayata, Neshei Manoach, the wife of Manoach, and his sons and daughters, they didn't inherit, and therefore there was no problem. But Aval bas yereshes, even though, by the way, it's only in the generation of Moshe Rabbeinu that a girl was not allowed to marry out of the tribe if she didn't have siblings. And after that it was mutter. But the minhag was not to do it. And therefore we would call her a Zoina, despite the fact that it was mutter. Even though it was only that generation that it said V'lo tisav nachala, like it says in Baba Basra, mikol makom mitaras minhag na'agu kach. Now, what's the reason why only that generation the custom was? Only that generation there was an isser for an only daughter to marry out of the tribe. He says, "V'tama kosav davkal oisei adar nemar v'leitisav nachala efshar loimer derech drash." Like based on Rabbeinu Bechayei, who said in close proximity, before they entered Eretz Yisrael, there was some type of Kabbalistic reason of for the koichos al yainim to keep the tribes completely separate, which no longer was relevant once they entered Eretz Yisrael. Okay, so be that as it may, we have a very interesting approach that the mother of Yiftach is called a Zoina. Either she was an innkeeper, or according to the Pshada Tosefta, she married out of the tribe, which the Kliyakar asks on that. Well, if that's the case, then why don't we call Eshes the mother of Shimshon a Zoina, the mother of Manoach a Zoina? And the Kliyakar differentiates between who marries who. If he marries her, she's okay. If she marries him, it's a problem. And the Chida says, no, it's only an issue when it's a Basi Reshes Nachala. If she's not a Basi Reshes Nachala, there ain't no problem. Shkayach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.